am the fire, I am burning brighter, roaring like a storm, and I am the one I've been waiting for.
Good evening, Phoenix Nation. We're back again for another fun-packed episode. I am Josh Phoenix, and to my right is my sister from another mister, Jade Phoenix.
What's up? How you doing?
Thanks again for joining us on this week's edition of the Phoenix Gate Podcast.
We missed you.
And I know y'all missed Jade and y'all missed me.
Of course.
I never left New York. Jade did.
Yeah, I did.
But I know you missed us both.
Mm-hmm. I'm back now.
Yep, she's back.
I'm back, and you can't get rid of me this time unless I go on another vacation. Haha. Which, I won't.
Yet.
Soon. Maybe. Whatever. Yep. But we're here, and we're ready to party.
Because you got to fight for your right to party.
That's right. So, speaking of partying.
Yep.
It's that time of the week.
Yes, everybody's favorite segment at the beginning of the Phoenix Gate Podcast is Josh Phoenix's Epic Beer Snobbery.
Beer Snobbery!
And for the first time in several weeks, I'm going to be reviewing a beer that's not a stout.
Oh, yeah.
The past couple of weeks have been stouts,
and
porters, and dark beers of that sort. This week, we're going to do a Hell's Lager
Ooh,
from the 6 Point Brewery, right here in our backyard of Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, 6 Point's actually got some really good shit.
Oh, yeah, I love 6 Point.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's easy to find, whether it's the Bengali Tiger, their IPA, Resin, their double IPA, High Res, their triple,
Yeah.
the Crisp, which is their Pilsner, etc., etc. But anyway,
They have tons of good beer, but this beer is special because you're going to drink it.
Yep. And this week's is the Hell's Lager Alpenflow.
Ooh. And it's in a can,
Yes.
not a bottle. That's also the first time you've brought a can and not a bottle.
That is also very true. Now, for those, just for a little bit of beer history here, a Hell's Lager, Hell's is taken from the German for light, so it is sort of a lighter lager. It's also brewed with Hell-style hops, so it gives you that lighter color, but still that crisp, full lager flavor to it.
Right, because most people are used to a lager being darker in color.
Like a Yingling.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So we're going to crack this open.
Let's do it. Look at that nice little...
Yep, got the sound. Got to get the sound on the podcast. All right, let's see what we got.
Taste it. Yum, 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 yum. He's drinking it. It's delicious. Ah, how's that carbonation feeling?
Oh my God, this is so...
I have to try it? Okay,
yes,
I'm going to try it now. So, tasting. Ooh. Yes. I like it. I want more, but I'm not going to drink more.
It's got it delivers exactly what it's supposed to be. It's light in color.
And I normally hate beers in cans because you can taste the aluminum.
Oh, no. 6 Point has got that to a science.
I know.
You never get that metallic taste from 6 Point beer.
Which I actually am really digging the fact that I do not, because say, God forbid, you're poor and you need to drink Bud or Miller from a can. You taste the can more than you taste the beer.
Yes.
Which is saying a lot considering the beer tastes horrible to begin with.
Yes. I wasn't going to go there.
I'm going there.
But because I do this beer snobbery, I have to be honest with our audience here.
Yes.
Things like Miller, Bud Light, Coors Light, etc., etc.,
Those are teenager beers.
I call them zombiers, actually, because they're part of the zombie beer apocalypse.
The zombie beer apocalypse. Do explain.
So many people have just become complacent with this mass-produced and, frankly, shitty-ass beer.
That's true. A lot of it
Budweiser's,
gets skunked when you buy it.
Yeah, it's just terrible, and it's come to the point where my body actually can't even tolerate zombier anymore.
No, it's true. I get sick.
Oh, it gives me the worst headache. It makes my stomach feel like there's a bowling ball in it. It's just...
You get bloated.
Yeah,
you get sick.
Yes. To borrow from our Celtic brethren, it's fucking shite. It's a fucking shite beer. Anyway, that having been said, Alpenflow by 6 Point Brewery. If you can find it, buy it.
It's so good.
It's good, it's crisp, it's clean, it's an everyday beer. Unlike stouts, which are maybe sort of seasonally regulated, Alpenflow, you can drink it winter, spring, summer, or fall. And it's going to be great. So get the Alpenflow. It's out there. It's not hard to find. 6 Point is very well distributed.
Yeah, especially here in New York.
Yeah. If you're out of state, I think 6 Point is still pretty easy. Because if I understand...
I think they go to the tri-state area. I'm not exactly sure if they go outside of it.
no,
Anybody
I
listening
was able-
outside of New York, New Jersey?
No, I
and
was able to find.
Pennsylvania?
I was able to find 6 Point in Colorado when I went last year.
Colorado's special.
Oh, Colorado's real special. But yeah, that's another day for another time. But this week on the Feinics Gate podcast,
We're doing our shout-outs.
yes, shout out to our friends, our overlords, the Podcast City Network. Now, Jade Feinics last week was amongst our overlords at their 1-year anniversary celebration.
Not last week.
Was it?
No.
Oh, no. Sorry. I blame
was
it
a-
on the alcohol, baby.
Yeah, no, that was a little while back.
Was it? Oh, yeah, it was like
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Give or take, maybe.
3 weeks or so?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
My bad. My bad.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? I was actually, that was, I would say a good 3 weeks ago, actually. Yeah, that we went to that. It
Yeah,
was
3 weeks.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. My bad. my
I'm
bad.
blaming it on your beer snobbery.
Yeah, the beer's not. It was just. It's such a
It's
good
just such
beer.
a good
It
beer.
scrambled my brains.
Seriously, even I had a brain fart moment where I was just like, Mom? No!
Yeah. It's like she was going along with me for like a nanosecond.
A nanosecond, and then I was like, wait a
no.
minute. What's today's date?
But anyway, this week on the Feinics Gate podcast, we are going to discuss something that may upset, to put it mildly, a
Here's
couple
your
of you out
trigger
there.
warning.
Yeah, this is your trigger warning.
This is your trigger warning, guys. Seriously, again, anything that we say here on this podcast is our opinion. We are not trying to force it on you. We are not trying to make you see from our point of view. It is quite literally just how we feel on certain subjects personally. And honest to God, please don't let it let these opinions that we post on these podcasts and videos and everything else that we do, our personal opinions, don't let them color your view of our cast as a whole. That's your warning, and that's what I'm sticking to.
Yes. And by the other side of the coin, there may be some of you out there that hear what we say, and you find yourselves going, you know what? That's the way I felt about it. I'm glad that somebody had the balls to go out there and say it themselves. But again, this is your trigger warning. If we offend you, we're sorry. Well, she's sorry. I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Oh, you're not sorry?
Huh.
Say, so baby, I'm sorry. Not sorry. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to be talking about what I feel is the slow, arduous castration of our country.
You might need to...
I was, yes.
You might
now,
need to
elaborate
dumb it down a little bit.
to
Because there's not
elaborate,
everybody
yeah.
that has an extensive vocabulary as you and I.
Yes.
Trigger,
What
trigger,
I
trigger,
mean-
trigger, trigger.
What I mean is, for the past almost 10 years,
More.
yeah, more than 10, we've noticed it slowly.
Probably since we got out of high school.
Yeah, since we got out of high school, which would be for me the year 2000, and for her the year 2003, correct?
That's right, Rabbit.
Yes.
So that's
Now-
19 years for you, 16 for me.
Yes. Now, what I mean by that is we have noticed that
I'm
basically everybody is bubble wrapping the world. Like and I know Jade will agree with me, when we were kids, we fell riding our bikes, we skinned our knee. What did our parents say?
Put some dirt on it.
Put some dirt on it, dirt don't hurt, get up and keep going.
Yep, pretty much.
And when, I'm not ashamed to admit, growing up as a little kid, I was the fat kid, so I was bullied.
Yeah.
I was picked on.
I was the girl that matured first.
So you were real popular.
Oh no, I was not, because on top of me having boobs in the fucking 4th grade, I also was the big tomboy.
That's true.
Yeah. So for me, I would get shunned by the girls and treated like a boy by the boys, and that just kept going throughout, until we got older and all of a sudden realized, oh my God, Jade's a girl. So
Yeah.
by the time 7th grade rolled around, I'm 12, 13 years old,
And she's getting felt up more than standing in line at the TSA.
God, no, actually, nobody would come near me or touch me because of my tomboy attitude.
So they were afraid they would get throat punched.
That, and to this day, people are still afraid they'll get throat punched if you touch me without an invitation.
Let me tell you, that's fact. Not that I've been throat punched, but I've seen it.
He's seen it.
I've seen it.
It's true. But I'm just saying, like, I got bullied a lot. People that I grew up with, actually. In the 7th grade, we grew up literally from kindergarten to 6th grade. And then when we left our primary school and went to junior high school, these people that I've grown up with that had been in and out of my home, hung out with Mama Jade, all these people turned around and they gave me, because remember, we didn't have cell phones back then. So there was no text messaging. We had the original text messaging on a written note, which I actually still have. They told me they did not want to be my friend anymore and to stay the fuck away from them. And then went around and told all these new people that I had never met before that I was a freak and needed to be stayed away from. So literally for almost the entire 7th grade, I had no friends. I had also made the very supreme mistake of cutting my hair, which at that time was all the way down to my ass. And I cut it to just below my ears so I looked like I had a page boy.
Oh, yeah, well, you did have a page boy.
I did have a page boy, but I didn't realize I just wanted my long hair gone. And it was also the first year that I started wearing contacts. So it was a big year of change for me. I had no friends, and I was unpopular. I was made fun of all the time. I was a little bit fucking heavy.
Oh, I was way heavy.
But you know what the funny part is this took place in, I'd say, 97, 98. Because that was when I went
in the mid to late 90s.
Late 90s.
Because I graduated 8th grade in 1996.
Yeah, you were 3 years ahead of me.
I know.
So for you, I'm not saying that your experience may have been different, but I'm saying for me, this came in the tail end of the 90s. So back then, bullying, while it was frowned upon, a lot of people, teachers, adults, everything, they kind of looked the other way.
Back in the 90s, bullying did have its limits before authority figures / adults would intervene.
Even then.
But even that
what was the biggest thing that happened in junior high school for both of us was the after-school fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did
and
adults ever come break that up?
No,
they did not.
No. No. Plus, we did it in the church parking lot, because I went to a Catholic middle school.
I went to a public middle school. I went to a Catholic high school, though.
Yes, and I went to a public high school.
That's funny how things go differently like that. But yeah, no, the big thing is the fight by the handball court after school usually it was between two girls, but occasionally there was guys.
Oh, no,
I've gone into a few.
No, I'm not ashamed to admit I've had the after-school fight with the Korean exchange student that they hyped up to fight me because I was the fat kid and I was the butt of all the jokes.
Yeah.
Now, I understood, even as a 7th grader, that they picked on me because I was exponentially smarter than the rest of them, and I knew that, and that gave me a little bit of confidence going into said after-school fight.
Well, you know what the funny thing is I'm told, and to this day, I still believe it's a fucking lie, because I know what I looked like back then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I was awkward. I was a little bit overweight. I had, a little bit of acne. Nothing terrible, thank God. I was very lucky.
The both of us lucked out not having horrendous acne.
I would get a pimple here and there, or a breakout when, my monthly would come around. But other than that, my monthly. But other than that, I really didn't have that much of a problem with my skin. The problem is I was not comfortable in my skin, and it showed. I was awkward as fuck, and I was weird. And back then, it was not accepted like it is now.
No.
Our weirdness was not accepted growing up. No.
But Jade and I are telling you about all this to preface that when we jump into the way that bullying is handled in this day and age.
Nowadays.
Yeah, we're coming from a place where you were told at a certain point,
suck it up.
You just had to suck it up and rise above it. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended. Fuck that.
Yeah. No. And the
now, in this day and age,
if you're bullied...
No, somebody... Okay, we're going to talk to the adults here for a minute.
Yeah, our age bracket.
Our age bracket that may have spawned by now.
So, I know quite a few of my actual classmates have spawned.
Yes. So now you have your children, and your kid comes home and says, Mommy, or Daddy, such and such person said, I have a funny haircut. And what's the first thing you're doing? You're marching into that office and saying, my child has been victimized and they're being bullied and you're doing nothing about it.
Actually, you know what? I kind of want to stop you right there. It's not mine and your age bracket that is doing that. It's younger than us.
You know what? You're actually right. It is. It's
Our age bracket addresses the problem. If it continues, then we get involved.
as well. You should.
We're not completely hands-off parents. Like, I mean, our parents, I don't want to say our parents were hands-off, but they were
No, not at all.
definitely not hands-on.
They weren't helicopter parents.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
They're not all up ons. If our parents heard a concern of ours and it was grave, and trust me,
Or legitimate.
in my day, there was some.
They're like cutting.
Or when they were going to try to suspend me for tossing a kid halfway across the classroom.
Or when they tried to suspend me because a guy groped me and I punched him in the throat.
See?
It's
Bringing back the throat punch.
happened.
But yeah, I'll admit, I did throw a kid halfway across the room.
Yep.
Do you know why I did that? Because he had been picking on me for a good hour at that point, and I had just had enough.
There you go.
He pulled my chair out from underneath me. I fell. And you know what? I had to be told about this secondhand because I'll admit that I hulked out.
Black rage.
I black raged. I grabbed this kid and I tossed him halfway across the classroom.
Yep.
And then when I was told about it, and then, it comes back, quote unquote, the butterfly effect, memory regression.
Yeah.
I remembered it and I told her, this is what happened. And you know what? I was a good enough student and I was a conscientious enough human being that it was believed because it was the truth.
It's true. I mean, honestly, I almost got in big trouble because nobody believed that one of these stupid boys that, no offense, Josh, could not control their fucking hormones turned around and literally groped me in gym class. But all this teacher saw was this boy dropping like a sack of fucking potatoes, clutching his throat, not being able to breathe because I punched him in his fucking throat. Where, I got in trouble because everybody's like, why did you attack this boy? And nobody wanted to believe that this guy had grabbed me.
It wasn't an attack, it was retaliation.
Right. It was actually more defending.
Yeah, that's what I meant, actually.
Yeah. It was a retaliation defense. But, because I was the pariah, and even the teachers knew I was a pariah, which just goes to show you how unhands-on... Like, our teachers could get away with a lot more back then than they can now, which we will cover in a little bit.
No,
but
it goes along, because it goes along with the bullying discussion a little bit, because even the teachers bullied us when we were kids.
Yeah!
Not me specifically, but I remember my 7th grade teacher took a kid who may or may not have been the kid that I threw halfway across the room, not saying, just saying, but he was acting up in class. She stuck him in a garbage can and put him in the coat closet. And every time she decided she was going to open that coat closet, he had to go, I'm a retard, which is a word you can't say anymore.
No, because now they're what, all autistic?
No, well, you can't say the word retarded. It's mentally challenged.
Well, that's retarded, don't you think?
That's...
Ah!
oh, it's Boston Joe. That's friggin' retarded.
Don't make me spit out my drink. Either way.
So the moral of that story is don't be retarded.
No, but the moral...
Parents.
Yeah, but the moral of that story is like, we grew up with it. And since some of our generation has actually spawned and created their own next generation, they know what it's like. So they're able to more discuss it with their child and treat it in a certain way that we may not necessarily have gotten the same treatment as children from our parents.
But the generation after us.
Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God.
Yes. Now... like I said, you could say the littlest thing about somebody's kid, and it becomes a federal case, for lack of a better term.
Oh my God! Or
now,
if the parent did nothing, it's ACS.
Yeah, I know. Now, don't get me wrong. There still are examples of bullying in this day and age that absolutely need to be intervened upon. Now, from personal experience, I'm speaking of my time when I was a track medic for a roller derby team in New York. And we had gotten wind that a junior derby player that I believe in Wyoming had been being bullied to the point where she actually took her own life.
Yeah.
And we did it for Casper. We all showed up to the next bout we had, all wrapped with, I believe they were turquoise bandanas. I had mine wrapped around my arm. Girls were wearing them on their heads, etc., etc. Yeah, that needs to be intervened upon.
Let's not get it twisted. I mean, we had kids back in our day, I mean, myself included, and here's my embarrassing admission. I was a cutter. And I did, when I was younger, try to do dumb shit, like committing suicide. I can sit here now as a 33-year-old adult, almost 34, and say, yeah, I made some pretty dumb decisions back 20 years ago now. Okay?
We all did.
Right, but the thing is,
it
wasn't talked about.
I fought a kid that only spoke Korean. We all did stupid shit.
Yeah, but I'm saying, these things, while they weren't mainstream, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be now. Because remember, like, they really should. I mean, we were in school for Columbine.
I was in college already, but you were still in high school.
I was still in high school when Columbine happened.
Yeah.
And Columbine happened, they say, because of bullying. You know? And honestly, while I wouldn't say that this is more towards the castration,
but
it's become to a point where there's a definite double standard.
Yeah. Where the weird kids are just acting out.
Yeah, and they got to be on medication.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Now I'm getting a little triggered about this.
Trick.
There is way an overabundance of medicating these children where, have we tried talking to them first?
Or seeing exactly where their mind is at before you decide to throw them on fucking Adderall?
Adderall or antidepressants or tranquilizers because they have intermittent explosive disorder.
Or ADHD, which they later on found out is a completely made-up disorder, that it was just an excuse to tranquilize the kid.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. There are people that actually do have some of these actual disorders.
Yes. There are
disorders.
There are kids that have spectrum disorders. And
bipolar disorder.
Bipolar, autism,
depression.
Asperger's, because Asperger's was actually taken off of the autism spectrum.
It has been, yes, but it is still a standalone condition.
Yeah, it's a standalone condition of its own. I have a very good friend of mine who has Asperger's syndrome, and he was a completely functional adult.
I have borderline personality disorder, and I am a fully functioning adult.
Nah.
I have my moments.
Yeah.
But I'm still, I have a full-time job. I'm able to talk about my issues. I have a couple friends of mine that have come forward to me and said, hey, listen, I suffer from borderline too. Mm-hmm. And I help them with it. You know, I'm not saying that the pussification of America is happening because we are taking things that were previously kept in the shadows when we were kids and brought to the light. What we're saying is, when is too much too much?
Yes. Now, we both are in agreement. Things like bullying and this quote-unquote safe space and things like that.
Over-medicating.
Yes, over-medicating. The medication of people that have genuine psychiatric disorders, we are 100% behind. These were all really good ideas.
Yeah.
What we're saying is, over the years, they have been horrendously perverted to fit a variety of agendas.
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. How many kids, when we were growing up, that may have been on the spectrum were just
put into special ed,
put on heavy doses of medication to control them, when in actuality, if they had taken the time to really sit down and actually evaluate these children the way that children are evaluated now, it would have saved them a ton of fucking therapy bills later. Okay? That's one side of the things. Here's the other side of the things. When we were growing up, not everybody got a fucking trophy.
Oh, let's not get me started on every kid gets a trophy.
No. Now, we had to earn our fucking trophies.
I played CUIO sports because, like I said, I went to a Catholic middle school. So I played soccer, and I played other sports, and, well, specifically soccer, because my team wasn't that great every year.
Nope.
And those of you that grew up in the Queens, Bayside, Whitestone area knew, because you probably played us. We weren't that great, but there was one year where we won first place because we worked our asses off. And those t-shirts and those trophies, when we won first place in our league, it meant so much more.
Because
and you know what? And when we were the last place team and we didn't get a trophy, we got maybe a couple of pizza pies at the end of the season party because it was something. It was a consolation prize.
Not even just a consolation prize. It was your coach recognizing that you guys
went out there and suited up and did what we had to do, even if we didn't win. But now, every kid gets the participation trophy.
Like, even if you, like, perfect example, say you're playing in Little League, or you're in a soccer league, how many times, okay, example, when I was growing up, I was in a flag football league. Because I was not allowed to play full touch football because I'm a girl. And I would have been the only girl playing, even though the pads obviously would have protected my more vital spots. The boys didn't want me to play. So I had to play flag football, which was co-ed. Fine, not a problem. I didn't fucking bitch and moan about it because I still played full touch without pads with my friends in the park. Okay? It is what it is. Nowadays, if that had happened with some of these parents out there and some of these kids that are so entitled, the entire league would have been disbanded. There would have been sexism charges, all sorts of fucking shit. Prime example, Boy Scouts of America. Why the fuck, if you got Girl Scouts of America, and I am a proud Girl Scout, I went all the way to cadet until I was fuck you, okay? Why do the girls all of a sudden need to be Boy Scouts? Were you a Boy Scout?
No, I actually was not. I was actually about to say, I never was a Boy Scout, but I ate a brownie once.
Ha ha ha. Wah-diddy-wah. I like that
Wah,
joke.
wah, wah, wah.
That's what he said. Giggity, 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 goo.
All right.
But either way, what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not dissing the girls that think that being a Boy Scout is cool. Because I'm not going to get it twisted. My Girl Scouts back in the day, all we really did was...
Sell cookies?
We still do.
I know you do.
They're delicious. It's cookie season, by the
Yes,
way.
it is Girl Scout cookie season, so get your Samoas, get your tag-alongs, get your do-si-dos, and honestly, fuck all the rest of the cookies.
Well, yeah. Either way. But no, we didn't just sell cookies. We actually did learn different things. I learned how to do my first aid when I was a junior.
Yeah, but that's one place where the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts paralleled.
Right. I did learn basic survival skills, not to the point that Boy Scouts do.
No. Yes, I agree with you. The Boy Scouts were going out there in the woods,
We weren't.
learning how to build a fire and dig a latrine and all that stuff.
We didn't. But we're going back to like the 90s when I was a Girl Scout.
No, I know.
Later on, after I was already too old to technically be a Girl Scout, I found out that a lot of the curriculum had changed where now it kind of mirrored the Boy Scouts, but it wasn't the same, but it was still on par. You know, so the pussification, it didn't fully happen, but it did take a step forward with, like, you know, equal rights kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But then why the fuck now, if we have the Girl Scouts of America, which is a time-honored tradition, why do you need an all-girl Boy Scout troop? Tell me. I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's because I was a Girl Scout and I'm like, you know, I got a thing for it.
Could possibly be.
Maybe I'm biased. I don't know.
We jumped off on the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, which is a valid point.
Very valid.
In my opinion...
Pussification.
Well, no, not so much pussification, but more unification. You should just have the Scouts.
I agree. Why does it have, like, that could actually go with those people that are trying to get, you know, certain monikers changed. Like, why do you have to have Mr. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus? Why not just, like, what did they say they wanted to change it to? The Claus or something?
Yes, the Claus or
Where
the Kringles.
They didn't have any, like, male and female moniker, which, all right, fine. In some aspects, yes. All the yes. In this aspect, I agree. You should get rid of the Boy and Girl Scouts, which creates the automatic segregation.
Just have the Scouts.
And just have the Scouts, which, you know,
and you know what? To go on a slight tangent here,
Go ahead.
they actually did touch upon that on a fairly modern sitcom being Parks and Recreation.
I love that show.
Where you had the Swansons, where there were boys and girls in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
Well, that was ahead of its time.
Yeah, but if a girl wants to get her hands dirty, I'm all behind it. If she wants to dig a latrine in the dirt, go for it. If she wants to go fish for her dinner, I will respect her more for it.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, I think we went on a small tangent here with some examples. But, I mean, a lot of these things when I was growing up, Girl Scouts was a place where you would be included, not excluded.
Absolutely.
You know, my troop, to this day, I remember my troop number. I remember most of the girls in it. I mean, I still see occasionally them around the neighborhood.
And actually, before we even met, there was one person that we both know that was in the Girl Scouts and was actually ridiculed for it, which is going to jump into this whole thing. Back when we were kids, being in the Scouts, everybody assumed you were a wiener or you were a loser or something.
Or you were a goody two-shoes.
Yeah, in the Scouts.
Yeah, like you couldn't be a badass and be a girl or a Boy Scout. Which is actually not true because I was more of a badass because of my Girl Scout training.
I mean, let's go back to the early 90s. Boy Scouts carried pocket knives.
So did Girl Scouts.
I know. So they could throw down if they needed to. And I mean like survival.
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of survival.
I had a full-on survival kit that had a compass, flint, a striker. I knew how to create a fire. I still do. These skills have not left me.
Well, because you were raised right. You were raised cool.
Oh, thank you. But I'm just saying, like, nowadays, what are they doing with the kids? Like, I'm assuming that Boy and Girl Scouts obviously still exist since this is what's been going on. This is like, you know, the big debate, like why girls can't be Boy Scouts and yada yada blah blah bullshit.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
then
I'm
what's
sure
going on with the sports teams?
I'm sure in this day and age, all the Scout activities have been I'm trying to find the right word for it.
The right adjective?
Yeah. Sort of muted to a certain extent.
I don't know if you would call it muted.
Well, they don't do as much of the badass stuff as my friends that were Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts did.
I don't think they can.
Why not? Why can't you go rafting down the river?
Because that goes with the pussification of the
I know.
parents.
Yes. We're talking about the parents, which leads us into, again, we said a lot of these were really great concepts. They were just horribly perverted as time went on. And of course, you know I'm going to just bring up the concept of safe space.
Bring it up, because that's the one you've been harping on all night.
I know. Safe space. Like I said, it was a great idea. There should be somewhere where we all feel secure and free of ridicule. You know what that's called? Society. We should all...
right. Not the way society is these days.
No. We should all be comfortable in our own skins because we're all unique. And it's the one time where I'm going to include all of us in the term that we've used several times on previous podcasts, and that's snowflakes. All snowflakes are unique. We're all unique, we're all different, and we're all just as important as the next person.
Oh.
Yes, we're all just in terms of being human beings, we're all just as important as the next person.
Okay, in the humanity standpoint, yes, but when it comes to personalities, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Now, safe space, it's like, you can't even, which, yes. We, like I said, we should all feel...
Do you support the safe space movement?
At its core beliefs, yes.
Do you support...
The way it is being carried out, absolutely not.
Thank
because
you.
By doing that, the way it's currently being carried out, what we are doing is we are silencing people's free speech.
No, we're not. That's not silencing people's free speech. What we're silencing is people's individuality.
Yes, I guess that's a better way to put it.
Because, okay, example. You and I are witches.
Yes.
Practicing.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Trigger alert for Josh Feinics. Do you know how many times that I have come out of the broom closet, as they say to people?
Yep.
And what's the first thing they automatically assume about us?
You're gay.
No, not that I'm gay.
That we
worship Satan.
And we sacrifice animals.
And virgins.
And that we ourselves are virgins and we're going to put curses on you and... Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm just on a global scale, if we were really going out putting on curses on anybody that looked at us sideways, do you know how fucked a lot of people would be right now?
Are you kidding me? If I was putting curses on people from dating back from when I was young, when I first started practicing fully, do you really think that I would have been bullied for as long as I was?
No.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, in the infancy of it, that's when movies like The Craft gave us kind of a bad name.
No, it didn't. It made people want to be cool like us. And then Charmed came out, which gave us an even worse name because everybody wanted to be the charmed ones. I mean, I'm just saying, there's good and bad with coming out of the broom closet, but this is an example, and we're going off on a tangent here. We're not going into that.
No, because we're talking about bullying and our personal experiences,
right.
So it is still on the main thread.
It is, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say here is, while we got bullied because to everybody, mainstream society, our religion was quote-unquote weird.
Yeah.
not accepted. Nowadays, it's acceptable. And in fact, more people are turning to practicing witchcraft and following the old ways than they are Catholicism, Judaism, Hinduism,
Yeah.
Muslim.
And this may be a very bold statement that I'm about to make.
Make it.
But you want to talk about the ultimate safe space?
Yeah.
The ultimate safe space is paganism.
Yes.
Because we accept everybody. We respect everybody.
And we respect
Now, don't
everything
get me wrong.
you're about.
We pick on the Catholics and the Jews and the Muslims.
Mostly
but it's
because
all...
they picked on us first.
Yes. But it's very lighthearted. We're making jokes about it. But we accept everybody for who they are and what they are and who they pray to.
It's true. Honestly, we also of the witchcraft in itself is one of those very safe spaces to. You could be a baptized practicing Catholic and still practice witchery.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who will use rosaries and crosses and
Now, wait, no. Thank you for bringing that up. Rosaries. Now, do you remember what they made the original rosary beads out of?
bone.
Or pressed flowers?
What? I didn't know about the pressed flowers. I knew
Yeah.
it was made out of bones.
Bones and pressed flowers were made into rosary beads. Now,
Roses. Oh yeah. Okay.
pressed flowers. Now,
Yeah.
that kind of hints at pagans, isn't it?
Just a bit.
Talismans and the such.
Yeah, well, I mean, how can you say that the cross is not technically a talisman? How can you say that the Star of David is not a talisman? Hinduism has what? The
Om.
cow? The Om.
The Om is their symbol. But
The
yeah,
Om is their
they
symbol.
They respect the cow.
Right.
Cow's a sacred... But that's because
But this
that's an
is-
incarnation of one of their gods, which then even bleeds into the Greek paganism.
Yeah.
Because Zeus
But we're
would
not going
often...
into the
No, I
history
know.
of paganism again.
No, we're not.
We're not.
But Zeus would appear as a bull to some people.
Yep, it's true. Actually, I think it was more Aries. That was the
No.
No, Aries was dogs of war. Never
Yes,
mind.
Ares would appear as a dog.
Either way, this technically is what you would call a religious safe place.
Yes. It's
Which
a safe...
at its core is what we're talking
Yes.
about.
That is a safe space I can get behind.
Yes.
Because, just to go personal for a minute,
Go
at
personal.
the age of 12, I was again in a Catholic middle school,
Yep.
going to church every Sunday, singing in the folk group at 10:30 Mass. Just, something wasn't right to me.
Just didn't feel right.
It just didn't feel right. But that having been said, I took it upon myself to spend the summer of my 7th to 8th grade year reading other religious texts. And I'm talking the Talmud, the Torah, the Upanishads from the Hindu religion,
Yep.
etc., etc. And I just found paganism just spoke to me. It made me feel safe.
Yeah.
Made me feel secure. Made me feel understood. And that's what, at its core, the safe space movement is all about. Somewhere where we can be respected, made to feel safe and understood.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's been
gotten
pushed to the
perverted.
point where it is suppressing people's individualities.
No, it's gotten perverted to a point where you can't be in my safe space because I don't agree with what you're saying. Which
Pretty
is
much.
the actual opposite of safe space, because a safe space is supposed to be where people of differing opinions can meet in a safe zone where there will be no repercussions to voice their opinions and possibly come to a amicable agreement or agree to disagree without repercussions or violence. That is the whole basis of the safe space. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all whatsoever.
So it's come down to it where it's like we love these ideas. We do not like the perversions of what they are becoming. Perfect example. I'm gonna go there.
Go ahead.
Black Lives Matters. I'm going there.
Yeah,
I
we're
went
going
there.
there.
I
Now-
went there.
It's not Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, any color, all lives matter. That's the movement we need to get behind. All lives matter. We're all human
People.
beings. We all are the same color on the fucking inside.
Yeah, red.
Pink and red, exactly. With occasional purples and blues or whatever.
Either way, we're
But, yeah.
we're a fucking rainbow on the inside. God damn
Yeah.
it.
We're all the same on the inside. We're all made up of livers and hearts and lungs and intestines and bones and muscles, etc., etc., et fucking cetera.
At a cellular level, we are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I know a lot of my black friends are going to sit there and be like, you don't understand because you're not black. And you're absolutely right. I do not, and will probably not ever understand your struggle. Because I didn't go through your struggle. I went through my struggle. But see, there's an old adage, Native American proverb that said, walk a mile in another man's moccasins before you judge him.
That way you're a mile away and you got his shoes.
Well, that was added on later, but ha-ha! No, the Native Americans had it right when they said you can't judge another person until you've walked a mile in their shoes. And it's such an old, like, a commonly used phrase now that most people don't even realize that it came from the Native Americans. You know?
Yes.
And the thing is...
And I'm sorry, the Native Americans are pagans.
Yes, they are. They are some of the most original pagans in the world. My whole point of this is, I support the movement. I do not support the exclusionism that comes with it.
Agreed.
I do not support what a lot of people will call reverse racism. It's just pure racism.
Racism is racism. There's no reverse or forward racism. There's just racism.
Right.
If you think less of a person or you make assumptions about a person based solely
On the color of their skin.
the color of their skin, and you assume, and I mean assume to a grave level, to assume their experience based on the color of their skin,
Then you are a racist.
yeah, you're a racist. Because
And
me personally, you look at me, I look very white.
yes, you do. Almost
Yet-
as white as me.
But I grew up with what would almost be considered a Hispanic experience because I am half Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
I knew more of my Puerto Rican family growing up. So, I grew up with dealing with family that couldn't afford to really give their kids a Christmas.
Or even
Or-
send them to college.
Send them to college. Or even, have them eating something different every night.
Instead of, like,
Most of my family grew up on the system. And it's not something to be ashamed of. It's just a fact.
But you would think, looking at Josh, being that he is over 6 feet tall, he looks white, he's educated, he has an excellent vocabulary, you would think that he did not go through that growing up. It's the same thing with me. People assume that because I am a tattooed, pierced up, crazy colored hair girl that likes to dress goth and likes to dress alternatively and wear a lot of black, you would think that I had one of those childhoods where nobody loved me and I, let's go eat worms kind of thing, and that's what caused me to be all dark and brooding. And because I'm white, you would assume that it's just because I didn't get my pony when I turned sweet 16.
But you didn't get your pony.
No, I did not, but whatever. My point is, no, I actually dress the way that I dress, I color my hair the way that I color it, and I do the things that I do because I like it. It has nothing to do with what society made me. It's just how I like it. But here's the other side of the coin with this one. People also assume that because I am very white, that I grew up affluent with white privilege and all sorts of shit. No, I did not. I didn't grow up poor, but I didn't grow up rich.
Neither did I.
No. There were times where my mom was on food stamps. I've known days where, I was very lucky.
Actually, you know what, Jade? Thank you for bringing up that particular fact of food stamps. Again, I'm going to get real with you for a second. When I decided to actually become an adult, I had lost my job.
Yep.
And while I was in school to be an EMT, which then later led to me becoming a paramedic, I was on food stamps.
Yeah, you were.
I was on Medicaid. And you know what? A lot of people looked down on me for it.
Yeah.
And it made me look down at myself.
Yeah, it made you feel like absolute shit.
But then it dawned on me. Like an apple hit me in the head, for lack of a better explanation, because it's the only thing that popped into my head right now.
Okay. Well, it is.
I realized, listen, fuck what they say. I'm doing what I gotta do so I can finish school, get my cert, get a job, and start my career.
Now
and you
here-
know what? I never looked back.
Right, but now
and
here
those
I'm
of you that are out there that are listening to this, that are feeling the same way, that maybe can't afford the newest sneakers or the newest video games, music, clothes, etc. if you're doing what you got to do so that you can do better for yourself and your kids and your family and all that,
I support you.
yeah, the Phoenix Gate supports you. We've got your back.
Damn right we do. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I also do know that a lot of my friends, will argue this point. That, look what you did, but what about the people who grew up poor or in the hood, as, or just weren't given the quote-unquote opportunities to be a certain way because their parents aren't a certain way, so they don't know any other way to be. Perfect example. My entire career has been in Harlem. My entire FDNY career has been in Harlem.
That's before the hipsters moved in?
Yeah, actually. Before it started to get gentrified. Mm-hmm. And now here's the thing. I've been in and out of those projects. I've seen how they live. I've seen how they've gone through it. I've dealt with these poor people that just a small amount of education, just a ton, and it doesn't even have to be education in a school, just education about
life.
Like, there are people that would call an ambulance because they had a horrible stomach ache, not realizing that all you need to do is go down the block and get yourself some Alka-Seltzer or ginger ale or Pepto-Bismol, and you wouldn't have to spend the night in the hospital.
Or even beyond that.
Yeah.
Just get on the bowl and take a shit.
Well, sometimes you get constipated.
I know.
It is what it is. But I'm saying, here's the other side of the coin. Are those people, and I don't mean these people. I mean, are those types of people who are not necessarily given certain chances because of their demographic, because of where they grow up, because of their family history, yada, yada, blah, blah, bullshit. They deserve the same exact rights that everybody else does, which at the core is the Black Lives Matters movement.
Yes. Now, again, to flip the coin back over once again.
Do it.
Those people that go out there and educate themselves and they try to make something better of themselves, what are the people around them? What's the first thing they call them?
Traitor.
A sellout.
Traitor.
You're selling out the hood because you got an education and you went to college and you're trying to better your situation. And again, I say fuck that.
Fuck that, fuck that.
You all want to single, say fuck that.
Fuck that.
Fuck that, fuck that. If you want to go out there, you want to educate yourself, you want to give you want to take care of your parents for everything that they sacrificed for you, if you grew up in a single parent home, for your parent working 2 and 3 jobs to put food on the table, clothes on your ass, and a roof over your head. Again, we've got your back. We're 100% behind you. We know you're doing the right thing.
Yep.
And for those of you, for all your haters, fuck haters.
Seriously, on some real shit. If somebody's trying to better themselves to what is considered the quote-unquote white standard, listen, there is no such thing as a white standard. There's no such thing as an Asian standard. There's no such thing as any type of standard. It's just a standard of living that as human beings we deserve to have. It doesn't have to have a color or color coding, which is why I hate the 1%. I absolutely hate the 1%. And you know what? They are the reason why people like me, and especially white girls and white people like me, have a bad rap. Mm-hmm. It's because of these fuckers that just don't do right by the rest of the world because they believe they're better than everybody. Nobody is better than anybody else because in the end, we all end up the same way.
Just dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind.
Facts.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We all end up as fertilizer, for lack of a better explanation.
Depending on your choice of burial. But yes, in the end, everything that we have in this life, we cannot take into the next one. Mm-hmm. And we need to understand and respect that.
Unfortunately, the Egyptians didn't get that right. But hey, they were thinking with the right way. You're going to need this stuff in the next life, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, but I think we also did kind of go off on a tangent. And now we're kind of sounding like social justice warriors. A little bit.
But we aren't, because...
But we are, though, in a way.
But we're coming about it the right way. We just want straight down the middle equality.
Right, because we're not the...
You're no better than me, I'm no better than you, I'm no better than the guy on the street.
Right, but also at the same time, we're not shoving our ideals down our people's throats where...
Absolutely.
Others of our... I don't even like saying our generation, because... It's the younger generation that's fucking warped, and you know what? You can't even blame ours, because ours is the lost generation, and it actually is referred to as such.
Yeah. And then they wanted to give us a buzzworthy name, so they call us the Zennials.
Fuck that.
No.
You are actually not considered a Zennial. The Zennials
Oh,
start.
I'm still part of Generation
You
Y?
are still part of Generation Y.
Okay.
Well, actually, technically, you're the tail end of X, actually.
No.
No, you were Y.
I was either the end of Y or the beginning of the Zennials.
No, the beginning of the Zennials, I think, is 1983.
Okay, so then
So
I'm
you
the
are the
tail
end of Y. And that's honestly only because they changed the recent Zennial thing, where originally millennials did not start until 1988, and we were still considered Generation Y.
Mm-hmm.
I fell into that. All of a sudden, they decided to add the Zennial block, which was 1983 to 1988.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else after that is millennials. And now I think they're up to like Generation Z. Something like that.
They're all just after the Zennials, quote unquote. They're all just millennials to me.
But it is what it is.
It is, but we're talking about this equality. Nobody's better than anybody else.
We're not sitting here saying we're better than you.
No, we're not. And unfortunately, one blaring example of people treating somebody as less than the next person is the homeless population. You don't know their story.
Which is growing rapidly, secondary to the 1%'s involvement in housing market.
Yeah. I mean, in the long and short of it, there's Section 8 housing that's out there, and all these millennials and younger generation are moving in and gentrifying the areas.
Because their parents can afford to.
Yeah. Because they're living off of mommy and daddy while they try to make a living as a sneaker artist, whatever the fuck that is.
Well, you know what my whole thing is like, listen, if you're doing you and you want to be independent from your parents, then you have to truly be independent from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit there and have mommy and daddy pay your rent while you're going out to all the trendy bars and poets night and speaking and spoken word stuff and still claiming that you're living the struggle when in actuality you are not.
Yeah, all you're doing is driving up the rent values and pushing out the people that can't afford to pay that rent.
And then on top of that also, we need to have people...
And then they become what? The homeless population.
Not even just that, we also need to be able to provide affordable education. We need to have affordable education. The blue-collar worker trade is dying out. Why? Because you cannot survive being a blue-collar worker in this day and age.
No.
You can't.
Okay, no, you know why the blue-collar population is dying out?
And we're also not able to get into the schools that we need to, and we're
Yeah.
believing the lie that a college degree is a be-all, end-all.
That's exactly.
Bingo!
And unfortunately, this was the beginning of the problem that was brought upon by our parents.
I don't have a college degree, and
Neither
I
do
have
I.
a full-blown career.
We both have full-blown careers in
Yep.
the same field, but we grew up hearing,
If you don't go to college, you're a failure.
or
If you don't get a degree, you're a
get-
piece of shit.
or to get personal again for a minute, I was brought up hearing, well, you know what? If you don't pay attention in school, you can always go to Queensborough Community College.
Yeah, like
Now-
like a community college is a bad thing. It's
No,
still an education.
Queensborough Community College is a perfectly acceptable educational
It's got
institution.
one of the best nursing programs in the state.
But because of the stigma that hung over my head
Because
growing
of
up,
community.
yeah, because it was community college, I was petrified of ending up at a community college.
Which in the end I actually did.
I was at Queens College for a semester,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up at Nassau Community College, where I actually flourished for a little bit, and then for other reasons we're not going to get into, it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, same
But
here.
you know what? I picked myself up on my bootstraps, and I found a career that I, for the most part, love.
Right, same here. I graduated high school out of a prestigious high school, mind you. I was actually at one of the best Catholic high schools in the country.
And I came out of one of the best public magnet schools in the state itself.
Right. And here's the thing. I went to a SUNY college. I went away for school because everybody says you gotta go away, get the experience. I went away. I lasted one semester. I could not go back. I never went to school. I never went to class. I was so depressed all the fucking time. I was miserable. I could not function. I came back. I had to take some time off secondary because, and this is the other bullshit that they do, they punish you for getting the bad grades. They don't even care why you may have gotten them.
Absolutely not.
And no, they punish.
That's how I ended up getting kicked out of Queens College.
That's exactly why I got kicked out of SUNY. I'm not going to say which one, but I got kicked out because of my grades. And then I had to wait another full semester before I could apply to go to a community college.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I was on academic probation. And it's
Yep.
like, what the hell?
And
It's not motivation that made me want to do it. And then finally I turned around, I got hired by where I'm work now, and I was like, fuck you, bye.
And on a slight upturn to my personal situation, I got kicked out of Queens College. What did I do? I turned around and I showed them what they had actually kicked out.
There you go.
I wrote a very impassioned essay for my reinstatement hearing, and I got back in.
And then decided not to go.
Exactly. But again, just because I brought it up, the homeless population, you don't know their story.
No.
There are countless amounts of homeless veterans, people that should be, in my opinion, getting the utmost care. They should be getting the utmost.
Everything that we
If
can
there
offer.
is one group of people that should be getting everything handed to them on a silver platter, it is our veterans.
True, because
who
they're the
go
ones
out
that
there,
went out there and busted their ass for
They
us.
get shot at, blown up. They come back with PTSD and all sorts of psychiatric conditions.
That's not even counting the physical disorders they come back with.
They come back after defending our country, defending our freedom.
Defending our way of life and your safe spaces.
And they're treated worse than a dog in a shelter. And dogs in a shelter get treated pretty shitty.
Dogs in a shelter actually, after 48 to 72 hours, die.
Yeah, the only reason they don't euthanize veterans is because that would be too much of a PR nightmare.
No, not even.
Not that I'm saying you should. I don't.
They euthanize veterans in other ways by denying them the medical care that they absolutely need, because you can only, as a veteran, use certain hospitals. And those hospitals, because of the extreme demand from these veterans who are suffering, are always backed up.
And their staff gets apathetic.
And on top of everything else, they're privatized. So it doesn't matter if you're a veteran. If you go to this hospital and you can't pay, bye.
Yeah, I remember maybe it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I picked up a homeless patient, and he was imploring me to take him to a certain hospital, saying he did not want to go to the VA. He did not like the treatment he received there. And he was on his knees begging me. And I looked him in the...
Don't take me.
No, he said, please take me to such and such a hospital. Please take me to such a... And I looked this man dead in the face, and I said, listen, in my opinion, you have stood up for our freedom. I will take you to whatever goddamn hospital you want to go to. I will call whatever doctor. I will do whatever I need to do because you've earned it.
Yeah. I mean, we're not saying... Listen, there's always somebody that's going to try to work over the system. We understand that. What we're trying to say is, there are certain populations of people that, while they should not be treated because this again goes against where everybody's the same. If you have done certain things, like fought in a war, or went and fought for our freedom secondary to whatever, or if you are a cop, if you're a firefighter, if you're an EMT, if you're a medic, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you are the sect of people that literally their entire lives is about helping
I'm going to go
others,
so far to add in the Department of Sanitation, because
without them, we'd be overrun with rats.
Rats and garbage, and they're doing their part to making sure that the bubonic plague actually never happens again, because that was the reason the plague happened, for those of you that weren't paying attention in history class, was poor sanitation.
And hygiene.
Yes.
But either way, what the point I'm trying to make is, while I'm not saying that you gotta put these people on a pedestal, because I'm not asking to be put on a pedestal as a medic, and neither is Josh. What we're asking is just to have a little respect. And if you see...
Just a little bit, hey, yeah.
Yeah, and and these are the kind of people that should be getting the help that they need. These are the kind of people that should not be denied the special care. Someone that abuses the system, fuck yeah, get the fuck out, get a fucking job, do what you gotta do. But if you're somebody that genuinely needs it, you shouldn't be denied just because somebody assumes you're a user abuser. But unfortunately, this is the society we live in, and honestly, this is the only reason we're bringing it up, is because we wish we didn't.
No. Because, I'll admit, and it's kind of funny, that when I'm walking through the streets, specifically of Manhattan, and there's a guy that's got a sign that says, look, I'm looking for money for alcohol/drugs, at least I'm not bullshitting you, I respect that honesty, and they'll get $1 from me.
They don't get $1 from me, I give them food.
Well, you know what? I do that a lot. And I cannot recall...
I will take a homeless man into a bodega and buy a sandwich.
There is a man that stands outside, and I'm actually going to name this hospital.
Oh, dear.
Outside of Columbia University Medical Center.
Oh.
He's across the street in front of the Wendy's.
I know who you're talking about.
And I call him the doorman, because he opens the door very politely for everybody. And then on the way out, he'll ask for spare change or whatever. Every time I have brought a patient into Columbia at night and I see the doorman across the street, I'll go in to get food for myself, but I'm going to buy an extra couple cheeseburgers and I give them to him on the way out. And you know what? He happily takes those cheeseburgers and I've seen him eat them in front of me.
Yeah.
That's somebody that is generally surviving.
Or just trying to, as best he can.
And unfortunately, that's a problem with our shelter system.
We really don't have time to get into that. We should probably save that for a part 2.
Yeah, there'll be a part 2 to this where we're going to talk about the services and how they've horribly been perverted over time.
I mean, honestly, it really does come down to the castration of the entire system for the simple...
No, it comes down to a
It's the
castration of individuality.
No, it's not just a castration of individuality. We're also being, because of these issues that we're having from the individual castration, it's now bleeding into everything else that we do. It bleeds into, literally, it bleeds into our healthcare system, our school systems, our welfare system. Everything is affected by this castration method, or the fact that everybody's afraid to set a foot outside of a certain circle because they're afraid somebody else is going to get offended, or they're going to get sued, or this, that, and the third. This is what we're talking about. We will be doing a part 2 to this, but it is that time of the hour. We want to leave you wanting more. We also want to hear your feedback about this. And if anything we said has triggered you, again, you heard my warning in the beginning. This is just our personal opinions and our personal experiences. Don't kill us for it.
Yes.
It's not like you could find us anyway.
No. So until next week, we are the Feinics Gate Podcast.
Yeah.
I am Josh Feinics.
I am Jade Feinics.
And we are signing off. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Podbean, on Spotify, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and all our social media accounts. And again, we've said in previous podcasts,
We will be continuing this topic at a later date. We
but
will
also,
be doing
we've
a
also
part
said
2.
there are some exclusive to Twitter, exclusive to Twitch, etc. content that you will only be able to see on those venues.
Yeah,
so tune into all of them.
It's
To
obviously
see all the shenanigans we get into.
pretty much just search the Feinics Gate on Facebook, Instagram, Podbean, Twitch, Twitter. Just follow us, because honestly, con season is already in full gear, and we got things coming up. Remember,
Things will be happening.
things will be happening.
Trust
but
me.
Only things that you'll be able to get are on those social media platforms. So hit them up. Leave us some feedback on this episode and let us know what you've experienced. Let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. We love you, and we're out. Bye.
And no pun intended, rise above it all.
Rise from the ashes, boys and girls, because the Feinics Gate is calling you. And on that note, goodbye.